Morning, and it's been quite a weekend. Now, let's see if we can get a hold on what's going on here in the world from the former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. Good morning, Speaker.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning and welcome.
A horrible story that dominated the news out of Arizona over the weekend, and I'm curious from the political standpoint what your view is. The shooting of the Congresswoman Gifford is being blamed by the Tucson sheriff on the last 2 years of right-wing rhetoric. What do you make of that?
Look, I think it's amazing that there are people who cannot bring themselves to connect any kind of radical Islamist ideology to the 126 people who've been indicted in the United States plotting terrorism, people who would immediately scream about ethnic profiling, people who on the left have every possible incentive to never allow anyone to draw conclusions, suddenly say things that are just factually untrue. There's no evidence that I know of that this person was anything except nuts. There's certainly the books he had in his library tended to be left-wing, much more Marxist and communist. He was apparently an atheist. He was, by no standard that I know of, had any connection at all with any Tea Party of any kind. Yet on the left, the very people who scream if you tell the truth about radical Islamists, as Cliff and I did in our movie America at Risk, turn around and say, oh, now let me draw the worst possible comparison because it makes me feel better. This person was apparently, by any reasonable standard, deranged. The U.S. Army turned him down. We don't know, frankly, whether it's for psychological or other reasons, because those things are confidential, though they'll probably come out in this trial. But to leap from that, the way the New York Times and others have, and the way the sheriff has, I mean, what proof does this sheriff have?
None.
None whatsoever. And the rhetoric recalled for a moment what it was like after the Fort Hood shootings. Everyone was told to not jump to conclusions, to withhold judgment about the why and wherefore of any of this.
Yeah, don't connect that to that any Islamic, when he was yelling Allah Akbar as he was shooting all of those people. Oh, we wouldn't want to make a connection.
Right. We actually have a segment on that in our movie America at Risk where we show you, and we have people quote it. And here you have a man who was carrying a wallet note. In his wallet he had a card that said, Warrior of Allah. He's yelling Allahu Akbar. He is in connection with a American imam who's hiding in Yemen who openly calls for the killing of Americans. He is deeply motivated by his Islamist belief system. But, of course, the president, the chief of staff of the army, every possible element of the national establishment promptly rushed in and said, no, don't draw any conclusions. You'll remember that Mayor Bloomberg, when a Pakistani tried to set off, and luckily for all of us it failed, a car bomb in Times Square. Mayor Bloomberg's first reaction was, well, it's probably somebody who's against the health care bill.
Right.
I mean, you have to ask yourself, what is it on the left that makes it impossible for them to tell the truth, either about radical Islamists or about nuts? And what is it about the left that requires them to smear conservatives with no evidence at all, and to do it with great moral indignation?